Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Special Olympics Delaware Virtual Champions Together event. We would like to thank our event's presenting sponsor, M&T Bank, also ShowWorks Audio Visual for their audio-visual support today, the digital team for their video expertise, Chick-fil-A for your breakfast or lunch coupon, which you'll redeem at your leisure. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Ruth Lavelle. I am a member of the Special Olympics Delaware Board of Directors, but more importantly, the mother of athlete Matthew Lavelle. We all go through life with many names: mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, friend, neighbor. The name I cherish most is Matthew's mom. Matthew is 20 and has been competing in Special Olympics since he was 6. He competes in soccer, basketball, track and field, long distance running, cycling, and sometimes bowling. He has also competed in unified track and field throughout high school, which resulted in 2 trips to the state DIAA championships. There is truly nothing greater than seeing Matthew smile, especially when he's competing to the cheers of the crowd or standing on the awards podium, beaming from his efforts and soaking up the applause. That smile warms the heart. And through the magic of sport, that smile unifies. That is what Matthew gives to others. He unifies. While Special Olympics gives him the immense benefits of health, socialization, and a focus on ability, high expectations, and personal growth. Special Olympics allows the community at large to see Matthew for who he is, to celebrate that and smile with him. A priceless win-win. True to sport, Matthew comes to Special Olympics with a team, our family, myself, my husband Greg, and our daughter Kylie. Over the years, we've grown from simply being fans in the stands, cheering for Matthew and his fellow athletes, to repeat over-the-edgers, polar bear plungers, and reindeer runners. We're volunteers, unified partners, coaches, and newly minted bridge runners. Matthew's sister Kylie is now a coach for multiple sports. It has been a true joy watching her grow into her own commitment to Special Olympics and seeing the enjoyment and confidence she has working with her athletes. She has become a role model for her peers while building bridges of acceptance for all. Another win-win and another joy for the heart. While we are members of Wilmington Wizards, we are truly Team Lavelle for Special Olympics Delaware. And we are thankful for the gold medal we have each effectively received because of the impact Special Olympics Delaware has had on us individually and as a family. Today we will highlight the stories of Special Olympics Delaware's work. There is no better storyteller than the athletes themselves. The next video will introduce our next speaker.
His name is Gift of God, so he's a gift. Always brings a smile, always brings a hug, always a kiss, sometimes not at the right minute, but always has one. Matt was delivered, and as soon as he came out, I kind of noticed that he was different from all the rest of our children. Of course, that brought a lot of fear into me. Tried to keep a straight face and keep her calm. And she's like, something wrong? And he wasn't crying, he wasn't doing anything.
They placed him in my arms, and I know he has Down syndrome. It's just something that I know. My experience in the hospital was that nobody wanted to acknowledge that. Nobody wanted to celebrate that. It was all very dark. So the first year was really rough. I mean, and it was a lot of focus on Matthew and his medical, and less, I think, on the diagnosis of Down syndrome. I mean, we really lucked out because in that year, it just turned for him. I mean, we went to go get the stent for his heart, and they're like, the hole's gone, no surgery. And we weaned him off the oxygen, then we weaned him off the feeding. He learned to swallow, and so things really turned for him. As he grew, that gap between him and his peers continued to grow also. And so he just had a hard time keeping up. And he's on the soccer field, and he's not comprehending, he's not fast enough, and they're at one end of the field and he's at the other end of the field. And Swimming, he just was swimming with kids much younger than him. And there's just all those things that gap with his typical peers kept growing. And so the opportunities for him kept shrinking. As those things disappeared, Special Olympics grew with him. That Young Athletes program was a Special Olympics program, and he did some competitions with them. He held the torch and things like that. And then that grew into his competition, and he's able to do track and field for the very first time in 8 and compete in skills and be somewhat successful and get his first medals. And an opportunity came for him to play flag football with Special Olympics. And there he is, and these coaches are awesome, and he got out there and he was able to play football just like, in my mind, it felt like just like his brothers. I still remember the first time he got to walk out onto the University of Delaware field, that turf field, and he's playing for the very first time, wearing that uniform, and the whole team marching out there, just feeling very, very accomplished, very proud, very much part of the community.
It has given him a lot of opportunities in a team environment, in an individual environment, to learn to work with others with disabilities as well as unified partners, typical kids. And they make friendships along the way as well that they probably never would have had if we had just been sending them to school and taking care of them here at home and not in the community in general.
You can see this thing where Special Olympics continues to grow for Matthew. He feels very much part of that school, and I don't know where that would have been if it had not been for Special Olympics.
He does develop those skills that we want each of our children to have in sports or in life. And a lot of those skills in sports are translatable. Never give up, always do your best, work with other people. Those are skills that every person should have and develop.
He's a 3-letter athlete at the school, and that's just very meaningful to him, and that's where he gets the engagement. He feels part of the community. He's a Jaguar. All those things that were taken away from him are all given back to him, and are given back to him through Special Olympics. What else can you ask for?
Hi, my name is Micah Beck from the MT Tigers. I have been the athlete for 16 years. I compete in golf, flag football, basketball, swimming, and track. I graduated in high school in this year. I am training to be a security guard. If you need security, and you can hire this guy. And the budget Olympics of is let me win, but if I cannot win, and let me be brave being tempted. And we cannot always win, and that is okay. But we need to be brave, and we never to give up. And we want to be brave in sports, but also in our daily life. After each competition, we are earned a medal and ribbon. The Delaware law enforcement put the medal around our neck. We feel proud and strong, and we like to share in pride with you and the mail, and you receive a gift from us. An athlete donated one of the medals to you. It is small, but it is very powerful. Each medal is a symbol from our courage and desire to be the best that we can be. And we hope you will love this gift as much as we do. And remember, and be brave too. Thank you.
Thank you again for taking time to join us today. My name is Lisa Smith, and I currently serve as Director of Marketing and Development for Special Olympics Delaware. My Special Olympics story starts, as it has for so many. I began as a volunteer. In 1999, I was an Air Force captain just beginning my transition from active duty to the Delaware Air National Guard. In the Guard, we worked closely with Special Olympics, and I served as a volunteer supporting both summer games and a unique fundraiser called the Plane Pole. I can clearly remember with my first Dark 30 volunteer shift, setting up tables, chairs, banners, sports equipment, and award stands for summer games, that I had found an organization outside the military that I could proudly serve. I was so moved by the mission of Special Olympics and the incredible work being done in Delaware that I came on staff 12 years ago after nearly 9 years as a volunteer. I am extremely proud of my military career, but I am just as proud of what I do for and on behalf of Special Olympics Delaware. We are making a difference, not only in the lives of those with intellectual disabilities who reside across our great state, but in the communities they belong to, the schools they attend, and the homes they live in. The challenges of 2020 have been immense, and despite these unprecedented times, our Special Olympics families are resilient, and why wouldn't they be? They are not at all unfamiliar with adversity. For years, our athletes have overcome and battled obstacles of isolation, discrimination, and exclusion. People with intellectual disabilities are one of the populations most vulnerable to COVID-19, and as a result, are facing even more isolation than usual. While today's situation is unlike anything we have ever experienced, our focus remains unchanged. Special Olympics transforms the lives of children and adults with intellectual disabilities through the power, joy, and community of sport. Today, we collectively reach 4,200 athletes, as young as age 2, and some who still compete well into their 70s. There is no upper age limit in our program. And so while the program is arguably successful in so many ways, the reality today is that for every one athlete we serve, there are 7 more individuals with an intellectual disability with the potential to join our program. Now, how do we close this gap? We need to create and deliver a robust communication and marketing plan focused solely on recruiting more athletes. This plan should highlight important facts of which most people are unaware. Special Olympics is offered at no charge. Did you know this? There are no registration fees to join and no costs to train or compete, regardless of personal or family income. As we reach more athletes across our state, so too will the need for our most vital volunteers, our coaches. Each of us has had a person in our lives who pushed us, who shaped us, who ultimately helped us discover we're capable of much more than we could ever have imagined. Everyone needs a great coach. If you're lucky, you've had more than one. But if you're really lucky, you become one. Special Olympics coaches teach foundational athletic skills in 19 different sports and help our athletes build confidence to compete in any arena. Today's reality is we need more coaches, and we need them now. Our current coach-to-athlete ratio is 1:8. It should be 1:4. So we must increase our organizational footprint and create the materials necessary to build broader community awareness so that the citizens of Delaware truly understand how great our need for coaches is, and that they understand the difference they can make by becoming a coach. We also recognize the need to expand another area of our program, Unified Champion Schools. Unified Champion Schools promote social inclusion by bringing together young people with and without intellectual disabilities on sports teams, through inclusive clubs and activities, and by fostering youth leadership. At its core, this approach is about unifying all students. It goes beyond acceptance. Acceptance is being invited to the party, but true inclusion is being asked to dance when you're at the party. It is through personal relationships, formed both on and off the playing fields, that we truly recognize and understand we are more alike than different. At present, we engage in nearly 160 schools, but our goal is to be in all 300 schools across Delaware. By expanding our presence, we increase the number of athletes we serve, we help reduce bullying and exclusion, and we engage youth as leaders today. Youth leaders who are building bridges of inclusion in their schools and communities at large. These are the youth who are the decision makers of our future. At Special Olympics Delaware, we come from different walks of life, but I believe we share two common and powerful beliefs. First, children and adults with intellectual disabilities have incredible potential. And second, sport is the key to unlocking that potential. These beliefs drive why we work with passionate coaches who are enthusiastic about teaching athletic skills that translate to life lessons. These beliefs lay the foundation for a supportive community who are committed to lifting one another up. And these beliefs are why we raise funds to ensure our athletes can compete and train for life. Our mission is about so much more than a game. It is about discovering and celebrating the greatness we each have inside us. Sport has the power to transform lives. When our athletes build the confidence to step onto the playing field, their next step could take them anywhere. Thank you, and now I invite you to meet two athletes and the power of Special Olympics in their lives.
These athletes from around the country, they are good, but nobody bites the dust with me. Jillian Matthews.
She's been a joy from the time she's been born. The fact that we had a little girl was just very exciting. You know, and her two brothers were excited. Even when she was little, before we knew what was happening with her, she was just a happy kid. So that was one of the things that threw us when you hear autism, you hear they're not social, they don't interact. That was never really her.
She was about 3 and not talking. Everybody said she's got 2 older brothers. What does she have to say? They speak for her. But it was the pediatrician who suspected something wasn't quite right.
And then they came up basically with the speech problem. So she went for speech therapy. And then they also started to notice that she drooled a lot and had some other little mannerisms and things. And in further investigation found that she had some low muscle tone. So that's when they started also speech therapy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy right off the bat.
As difficult as that was to say, yes, you have a child with autism, it opened up the doors to help her.
One of the first things the autism kindergarten teacher said to me, which kind of made your stomach just sink. She said, I know it's hard. She's coming into this classroom and going with this diagnosis. You have to change all your thoughts and your dreams of what it could be having a little girl. Jillian came home, she was 14. With the paper, Special Olympics was doing something called Get in the Game. And a mom, she wanted to get something started for Special Olympics in our county and was disappointed nothing was. So she talked to the rec program there and they started a track program. So Jillian that's how she started in Special Olympics. from the time she was little. She could be playing and all of a sudden she'd get up and then run back. And finally, when she got verbal enough, the doctor asked her, he said, "Why do you do that?" She said, "It helps me think of things."
Running was always something that she seemed to like. And with Special Olympics, it took off.
It's given her confidence in herself. To see the growth and the independence, like I said, when she went to the USA Games, I didn't even think to apply because I thought she can't go on her own. She can't be without me. She can't she can't do that. And little by little, we worked on it once she found out she was going.
It was actually the first time I have ever gone on a plane without my family. And in fact, it has been the first time I have ever gone anywhere without them.
Once she came to see us, one of the first or second day, you're thinking, oh, is she going to be bursting into tears? I miss you and everything. It's like, no, hi, Mom, and bye, Mom, and see you later, Mom.
I was kind of nervous about it at first, but I had a fun time getting to know a lot of athletes that I've never met before.
When I think about that kindergarten teacher saying, just get yourself ready, things are going to be different, your lives are going to be different. Well, they are. They're different.
Look at us now. I'm somehow ended up the head of bowling. Cindy's on the committee that meets among athletes. We've become part of it as well as her.
I think her purpose is to show people that with someone with intellectual disabilities, you can do whatever you set your mind out to do. She can do it all, and that's because of Special Olympics, really.
I just love doing Special Olympics on my own terms, just as any athlete would need. It made me feel special and knowing that I can do anything.
Oh, the day David was born, it was a terrible storm. But he was born December the 6th, 1983 in Montgomery, Alabama at Maxwell Air Force Base. When he was a little boy, a baby, he was active, he was always smiling and grinning, and he was very loving. When he was 1 year old, we were on a trip and David had a grand mal seizure. There were no indications that he had any problems at that point. His language was developing normally. Just thinking about what it looked like, I thought he was really dying. From that point on, his language, the few words he knew were gone. That was my first indication that something might be wrong, but I thought it was just a seizure disorder. Age 3.5, when he entered autism, we realized that language was his greatest barrier, and we began to work on the language. He had a babble no one understood. He had no recognizable words. It was 9 before we heard a first word, and it was done with a communication card and me repeating a word. And when I said water, because he wanted water, and he said water, oh, finally there was a breakthrough, and David was able to at least repeat one word that he understood, water. It still took us until age 13 to get him to string more than one word together and form a simple sentence. And based on his language capabilities, they found through testing that David had Landau-Kleffner syndrome, which is a neurological impairment in the brain that affects the speech center, which robbed him of his language at 1 when he had that seizure, and also his ability to understand spoken language. When David turned 20, I put David in Special Olympics, first thinking he would just have a social group, he would get out of the house, he would be physically active, but Special Olympics is so much more than that. It gave him a pool of people that he could hang out with and make friends with. And through his sports in Special Olympics, he gained a passion for powerlifting. And he took that powerlifting and used it to gain independence. He's had a job now for 10 years at Home Depot. Through his powerlifting, he became a strong young man. So now they use that resource to do heavy lifting at Home Depot. That helped him with his manhood and his development. But the biggest thing that Special Olympics did that I never expected it to do was to give David the confidence of speaking. A person who was unable to communicate at 9 and only had a 3-word sentence at 13, David went from that to stand before hundreds of people and deliver a speech.
Special Olympics is an important part of my life. I play 7 sports and have won many medals. Good luck in your sports. We are all winners!
Special Olympics is more than sports.
Thank you.
I cannot find the words to express what Special Olympics has done for David.
Hello everyone. I'm David Hill and I live in Newark with my family, Mom and Dad. Special Olympics is an important part of my life. I play 7 sports and have won many medals. Special Olympics got me started in powerlifting, which is my favorite sports of all. At my last Summer Games, I broke 3 personal best records and won 4 gold medals. I can squat 665, bench 425, and deadlift 610 pounds. As you can see, I am fit and strong. What you can see is that my brain had trouble hearing and speaking. It's called LKS. I never know when I will not be able to understand what others are saying. It's like skipping in my brain. Knowing this will help you to understand how amazing this is that I am giving this talk. I complete in Special Olympics speaking class that give me the skills and confidence to speak in public. I remember when I first started, I was frustrated when I had to get up in front of the class. But each time I got up to speak in public, it got easier and I began to feel stronger. And soon I want to share my story. When I graduate, I remember how good I felt. It's like winning a medal of one of my sports. I work at Home Depot in the lumber department. I never used to talk at work. Now I do, and work is better. My boss, co-workers, even customers got to know who I really am. Special Olympics is an important part of my life. Your support is important to Special Olympics so others like me can continue to do great things. On behalf of all the Special Olympics athletes, thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, David. Hi, my name is Chris Kroll. I'm often asked to let donors know why it's so important to contribute to Special Olympics. Generally, I come back to the same theme, the same story. Whenever you want to convey something important, you need to make it personal. My son Keith has been an athlete in Special Olympics for over 25 years. Keith is normal, just like my other sons. Yes, he has some special challenges, but don't we all? Every morning he wakes up grumpy and his room is a complete mess. He's always feeding the dog something strange, and like my other sons, Friends are very important to him, like any normal person. When Keith goes to Special Olympics, he's excited, and he talks about who he will see. When he comes home, he never talks about the sport that he's played, but rather the friends that he's seen, the fun that he has had, how the coach was nice to him and helped him. When Keith goes to Special Olympics, whether it's for a practice or for a tournament, he goes for one reason. He goes because that's where his friends are. When the sports season is over and the tournament is finished and we're on our way home, Keith's first question is always the same. What sport is next and when does it start? Incredibly, for Special Olympics of Delaware, the next sport generally starts within 1 to 2 weeks. This is due to the incredibly dedicated staff of Special Olympics and the volunteers and coaches who have devoted so much of their time and spirit for these special athletes. Clearly, all of them, it's a calling, it's not a job. For Keith to know the next practice is only a week or two away is a great relief because he knows it won't be long before he'll be seeing his friends again. These last few months have emphasized how important Special Olympics are for these athletes. As we have all been isolated in one way or another, it has pointed out to us the value friends play in our lives. For these athletes, for my son, it's no different. They miss their friends. They miss having fun together. So when Special Olympics put together plans to restart, my son couldn't wait. He was going to see his friends again. This is what your contributions to Special Olympics are all about. I know you've seen pictures of athletes with big smiles on their face holding a ball or running a race. However, I can assure you, if they were playing these sports all by themselves, it would not be the same. For these athletes, sports together with friends, that's why they're smiling. They enjoy a sport they play because they're playing with friends. Your contributions are what make this happen. The dedicated team of Special Olympics of Delaware works tirelessly on behalf of these athletes, designing programs which my son has not tired of for 25 years. Sport after sport, year after year, he's excited about the next season as he was about the last. And why not? Who doesn't look forward to getting together with friends to do something you enjoy? Now I will turn the program to Ruth Lavelle to wrap up our program. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. We hope you will share the stories you've heard today with others, and thank you for helping us grow the cause of Special Olympics Delaware. Have a wonderful day.